Hello, welcome to the Internet Chess Club. This is Grandmaster Miguel Illescas, and we are going to do the recap of the Game 14 and of the tiebreaks of this World Chess Championship. Well, probably you know, finally Ding Liren is the new world champion. He's going to be world champion number 17 after Magnus Carlsen. Well, what can I say? I mean, it was a very exciting match, amazing. And the quality of the games in the tiebreak was extremely high. Both players, Liren and Nepo, they are both very strong in rapid and blitz. And finally, well, I mean, it's just little details. It was very pretty equal. And we are going to start with game 14. It was the last classical game in this World Championship. Liren had the white pieces, and he had prepared a line in the Nimzo Indian with bishop d2. Well, it's funny because, in fact, in this position, black is not threatening to take on c3. That's why for many years, white was developing with bishop d3 or with knight f3 or even with knight e2. But white is not worried about bishop takes c3. But with bishop d2, what white wants is to play a3. And, well, I mean, black has to be careful. If he doesn't want to give the bishop, he needs to play now something like d5. This is what happened in the game. And bishop e7. Then white is a tempi up, it's true. But the bishop on d2 is considered to be a bit misplaced. Many times the bishop would like to be on b2 from c1. And that's why black plays this position and, in my opinion, gets very comfortable play. This could not be a surprise for Nepo because we have a game, Liren versus Pragh, the Indian talent. It was played last year, 2022, and in this moment, the Indian Grandmaster played b6. Okay, white took, and after a few moves, the position was pretty equal, still a bit unbalanced, but with equal chances for both players. So Nepo prepared this position. He went for c5, take, queen c2. This was played in the game. And here it comes the new move, very natural, d takes c4. It was played before Donchenko Wojciech, knight c6. And of course, I'm pretty sure Liren would be very well prepared against knight c6. That game, played in 2021, followed this. And okay, we have this isolated. As I said before, the bishop would be much better placed on b2. On d2, it is really disturbing the white's harmony. And after a few moves, white played the bishop to the right place, but black got also good position, and its position is pretty equal, in my opinion, after move 20. In our game, after bishop takes c4, knight b d7 came, rook d1. White is delaying to castle because he may have some ideas, like we will see in the game, for an attack on the king side. Here I was a bit surprised that Nepo played quite fast, and he went bishop e7. I don't really like this move. I don't know, I mean, it was possible to play b6. The move is very natural. I mean, the main goal for black here is to develop his queen's bishop. And the most natural way is to do it through b6. And why Nepo didn't play it, I don't know. I mean, knight g5 now, it doesn't work because bishop b7. And there is no knight e4, so black is perfectly all right. And also, if e4, queen c7, and next bishop b7, black is perfect. So the only thing to worry about, maybe knight e4. But in my opinion, I was analyzing this many times for Vladimir Kramnik, these kind of positions. And I know that after bishop b7, if white takes the bishops, black gets very good play because he has the control of critical squares in the center, e4 and d5. And the rook's coming also very fast to c8, d8. So white really has nothing. And if knight g5, then we have knight e4. So this was probably all right for black. Also after bishop e7, if take, bishop c3, queen e7. And again, knight g5, black has many moves, but rook d8 is very simple. Because this kind of stuff, I lost some games with white play like this. You grab the pawn on h7, but suddenly black pieces are much better. b2 is hanging, g2 is hanging, g5 is hanging, white is behind on development, so really the pawn is very much compensated. So after rook d1, anyway, Nepo went bishop e7, and here I was a bit surprised to see knight g5. Liren said in the press conference that he really fell in love with this move, and that he was very optimistic. White wants to play knight e4, bishop c3, and some rook d7 and checkmate. I mean, basically, white is playing for checkmate, and after h6, h4, and we have a very sharp game. I would consider e4. I mean, this was very natural with some ideas, like bishop f4 or e5, and black has to be careful not to get immediately worst. But okay, in the game after bishop e7, knight g5, h6, h4, now we have a position where black also needs to be careful if natural move b6, already losing because knight e4. Now if take, and suddenly we can see here the double threat. Of course, I don't need to say that to take on g5 is not so good, because we take here and the knight cannot move because mate on h7 and white gets a very strong attack. What to play with black? Nepo found the right move, and it's interesting. Miss Liren, he admitted he missed it. Queen c7, very natural, attacking the bishop. And the most important is now all these moves knight e4 are not dangerous anymore, because white, black has the move knight f6. The bishop is hanging all the time. In this moment, white went bishop e2, rook d8, and he found now very good move, rook c1. He's training knight d5 sometimes, and black needs to play carefully. Knight f8 was the move. They played a few moves, and now it's clear to me that white was more or less happy with the draw. Black has equalized completely. Now the pawn on h4 is really not for an attack anymore. White would like to play h5 maybe, but black is going to attack. The knight on e4, also the pawn on g2 is behind. So, well, I mean, Liren played quite fast, but I'm not really sure that this was so much correct. He went for this move. Now his pawns are weak, but he was confident that he could play something like knight c5 and rook g1. Now the bishop will be chased out from these squares, so knight b7 will be possible. This was Liren's idea, but it was not so accurate, because now black had two ways to play, one which happened in the game, bishop d5, but also possible was bishop c6, b5, bishop da, and b6. And white is probably a little worse in this position. If take, we can take. It's a pawn up for black. Maybe not such a big deal, but still some problems for white. In the game, bishop d5 also was good, because after provoking the move e4, now black has this very strong move. And after rook c4, rook d7, everything becomes pretty forced. Now if knight a5, black has knight g6, and it's very strong. It's equal pawns, but suddenly white has some weaknesses, and it will not be easy for white to equalize here. That's why Liren went for knight c5 and rook c3. Now, at least, if knight g6, white can answer with knight a6. This is very important move. And take, but okay, it's pawn up for white, but really, white is not worst, because rook a1 is coming and the pawns on the queen side are very important. So that's why Nepo played rook c8 and knight d7. Now white is going to get the pawn back, and white needs to do something. I think he got scared here of king d2, which was more or less natural, because he understood that the rook a1 is not working because bishop b5, and this is a very important line, and black is going to grab this little pawn and get 4 against 2, of course, winning completely. That's why Liren, he invented something, rook g3, and here I was pretty worried for white. I thought Nepo had good chances to win this game, especially with g6, which he didn't play. I don't know what he didn't like. but he went knight c5, which is also good. The point after g6 is knight d7, rook d7, and it's equal pawns, but black rooks are entering, especially this rook to c2, this rook to d4, and white is in danger, I hear. In the game, it was a bit also difficult for white. This is the move black played, and it's true that life is also difficult for white here, because b5 is pretty weak, also e4, also the rooks are very active, and he went rook g3, defended quite well. And here it's interesting because Nepo played a move which after it was found it was an inaccuracy, but after the press conference he said, I thought e5 could never be bad in this position, and of course it looks so natural to put the pawn on e5, but we will see that black will find a way to simplify and go for some drawish endgame. We will see. What was correct? Rook b3, a very difficult move, but black wants sometimes to take on b5. Also, the rook is very active coming to b2 or b4, and I would be worried of e5 and f4, but it's true that black has many options, and I'm showing you one of the lines. This is quite funny. Rook here, take, check, take, take, take. And black is a pawn up. There are many ways for black to be pawn up. This is one of them. And it's true that white would be very much suffering after rook b3. e5 was an inaccuracy because rook h8, rook d6, and now beautiful move. Can you find a way to play for white? Trying to simplify. A very nice move, b6. Tactically, it's working because when black takes, now we have this check, check, and take. And we go for a rook endgame, which it's pretty, I mean, it's better for black, of course, pawn up, but it's pretty likely that it's going to be a draw. Not so many pieces, and white rook is pretty active. Okay, I'm going to show you more or less fast. I'm not going to comment every move. Nepo was trying to find the way to use his pawn. There were many ways to play, many setups possible, but finally they stay here for a while and the pawn goes to e3. This is the critical position. Black has mainly two plans. One is to give the pawn on f6 to bring the king to the queen side, okay, and sacrifice this pawn. The other is to put the pawn on a2, but we were checking that with the pawn on a2, black cannot win because the white king stays in g2, f3, g2, f3, and it's impossible to find a plan for black. So he went with the king, with the pawn on a3, finally here, and well, I mean, it was not easy at all. In fact, the move 65 f4, it's an only move to make a draw. Otherwise, king b7, and suddenly white would not be in time to create enough counterplay. But after f4, he does, because he has a pawn which is going to be diverting the black rook, playing very careful. The Chinese player, very precise, and okay, he got the draw without too many problems here, simply waiting for black to do something, and at the moment he goes, now it's clear that it's going to be a draw because black is not in time even to take these pawns, and it was finally agreed on move 90. Okay, so after this draw we have 7-7 and we go to the tiebreak. Okay, don't miss the action because we witnessed 4 very, very beautiful games, in my opinion, a very high quality tiebreak match. And I will, of course, not analyze all 4 games. I will show you the highlight moments, okay? In this rapid match, white started with white, and Liren started with white, and he prepared a new idea, well, not new, but a very dangerous idea. He's going to be pawn up, and this is very annoying, especially in blitz, in rapid, where you don't have so much time to prove that your opponent is doing something so risky. I mean, finally, Nepo found the way to grab the pawn back in this line. Still, he's going to be slightly worse in this line because white is very much, has a lot of power on the center, and the bishop on g2 is extremely strong. And this very important move, knight g5, the knight coming to d6. Here, it was interesting to play in queen e4, but he went knight e4, coming to d6. And white is better. I mean, black found a way to create some counterplay with rook h5, and in fact it was working very well in the game because Liren missed a very important detail here. He should play queen c2 to get out of the ping, and if black plays knight e5 to jump to f3, we have the move f4 because the rook still on f1. But in the game he went rook b1 immediately, and then knight e5 is very strong. Now there are some threats with knight f3, and white has to lose a tempi and close his the bishop diagonal with e4, and this is quite bad news because now black is in time to play one of the most brilliant moves of this event. Incredible, the move which Nepo found in this rapid game. Beautiful, b6, amazing. After take, he's offering the queen, but of course it's not a good idea to take it because after check we have the beautiful rook h1 mate. So Nepo took the initiative in this position. Now suddenly white has a lot of problems. d6 is hanging, the queen is pinned, some knights coming, and he found knight b5, which is very precise move. And in this position maybe knight d3 was giving black some chances, but still okay, probably draw. But okay, they made a draw in another different way. Beautiful. White, I mean black had to be careful because here it looks like he's going to lose material, but he has this very precise move, rook h2. The Chinese, I mean Nepo calculated very well this line, and it was a draw. So let's go for game number 2. Here white Nepo, and it was a Rui Lopez. I will go fast, we cannot comment every move. They were playing more or less similar stuff to, and this was his preparation for this game. He got a slightly better position, better pawn structure, and very soon he's going to have a moment where he could play better, creating a lot of pressure. In this moment black played knight d5, and here Nepo, he rushed to go for some endgame, but it was very good to keep the tension with bishop g3, and black is in little trouble here because some weaknesses, you know, all his pawn structure is weak, and white is better according to the computer. But Nepo, he thought that ed6 would give him some edge. This position he thought it's better, and maybe he was right, but Liren found a very precise way to play rook b4. Very good move. The point is that if d3, I think it's a bit different because white can play I think g6, no sorry, g3, and in some lines, I mean here take, rook c1, sorry, and white is going to be pawn up. Of course not easy, maybe very good drawing chances for black, but okay, very annoying. And after rook b4, the difference is that if we play b3, then in the same line we are going to have very important the pawn on b3, so white will be losing his pawn because it's not on b2, it's on b3. We provoke the move b3, so now we can take the pawn. This was very important move, rook b4, and finally, okay, there is nothing to play here. We can see there was some emotions, both trying to trick the opponent, but finally Liren played very well, and it was draw agreed in this moment. Move 47. So 1-1, going for game number 3. Again, white pieces for Ding Liren. In this case, he didn't get a real advantage. We will see. They went for a line which is well known, and his idea was pretty simple, to go for this position, just trying to prove that this bishop is better than this one, trying to play this kind of Catalan style position. But Nepo knew very well what to do. Knight f4 is thematic here, and here Liren looked quite unhappy with the outcome of the opening. He's still slightly better, but probably not enough to get any real play. And he's going to be pawn up, but with opposite color bishops, really not real chances to win this game. And very soon it was draw agreed after move 33. So 1.5, maximum equality, and we go to game number 4 with Nepo having the white pieces. And if this would be a draw, they would have to play 2 blitz games to decide the World Championship crown in a blitz game. Finally, this didn't happen. We had a decisive game, and it was a very, very exciting game. Nepo was again playing the opening with a better preparation, this which he prepared, and here he came with a very, very surprising idea, quite new, Bishop B1, amazing. Liren was thinking for a while just to understand what's going on. White wants to take on A4 and get later A6, and if black takes on B2, this would go directly to Nepo preparation. Liren wanted to avoid this because, okay, it's clear that white has good compensation, for example, with knight c5. I'm not so sure how much better white is here, but if d takes c5, rook a5, and all pawns are very weak, and if knight c6, we have the pair of bishops. Maybe nothing extraordinary, but one day white can be better with this distinctive bishop if one day comes through a2. Okay, so rook b2 was the main move, but Liren refused, and he tried to surprise his opponent with queen e8. Nepo played quite fast, b3, and now the point is that white is taking the pawn, but look at the bishop after b3. Now the bishop is really bad. And in this position, I was watching live Caruana, he was suggesting c3, and it looks the most natural move to me, bishop c2 and knight b2, c4 maybe. Maybe white is slightly better, very little, because black is also very well on the center. But okay, I was very much surprised to see the move knight c3. And now I think the bishop on b1 is really crying. What are you doing to me? This is not random chess. This is not Fischer's 960. Yeah, it's amazing, the bishop on b1. No, it looked like very artificial. How is it possible? But okay, still white has some ideas here, because one day he may play c3. And he's trying to use the fact that he has a better pawn structure and to make a lot of pressure on a5. But I like the way Liren played. He played very active in the center, trying to use the opportunity, the fact that the bishop is out of play, and now black is going to play with a piece up on the center and on the king side. And this is bishop c4 also played. This was, well, I mean, necessary if you want not to sacrifice a pawn, because the knight is attacking 2 pawns. Nepo took with the b pawn, and now he rushed to play c3 to give some play to his bishop. Black needs to be careful. He still can be worse sometimes. I mean, not a clear position, probably equal, but he played very active, Liren, we will see. And white was not in time to bring the bishop to a4, because now d3 is weak. He went g3 because e4 was a threat sometimes with mate on h2, and after g3 Liren wanted to attack this king. He has all the pieces ready to act in the center and queen side, and he found a way to bring also the knight to the attack. After queen f3 he went e4 and knight e5, and now the game became extremely exciting. Liren was much behind on the clock. Nepo, I think, had something like 10 minutes, Liren already 5. It was difficult now to find the good moves, but Liren played very well, knight d3. Both played very well, in fact, and they are reaching a position which is very difficult to assess. Who is better and why here? It's 5 pawns for white, 4 pawns for black, f5 is falling, and a2 is under attack. But it's true the black king will be a bit weak, and also the bishop is quite weak. Difficult to say. Computer thinks white is better with a very difficult move, completely machine, not human. Nepo was thinking for a while, he went rook a1, which is very natural. Keeping an eye on the pawn a5, protecting the first rank. Computer likes the move rook d2. Okay, this is not human. I mean, giving away the pawn on c3. And what is the point? If take, then we have this move check, this move, and suddenly, even with a pawn down, sorry, even we gave the pawn, now the queen on e6 is very strong and the black pawns are weak, and according to the computer, white is better. I don't know how much better. Oh, again, another crazy line by the computer. If rook f5 and bishop g3 to enter on f1, then it's amazing now, the move white to play and win, and I guess you would never find this move. No human can find this move. Look, incredible. F4. No, okay. We cannot expect human players to find these moves. I mean, it's completely crazy. F4. And now black king is in a mating net after bishop check. If pawn g5, then it's mate, because the king has no escape. And if rook g5, only move to give escape through f5, and white is of course better with exchange. Now this is impossible. Black could not be afraid of this kind of lines because it's impossible to think about it. After rook a1, black took the pawn back, and I thought it's going to be a draw. Because, well, more or less, okay, I understand the pawn is strong, but as we said, white has also good points, and Nepo played very well at the beginning. Bishop d2. The bishop may one day join the battle on e3, protecting f2, and maybe the pawn on c3 is not so important, or maybe black cannot take it for some tactical reasons. After h6, black needs some safe haven for his king on h7, and white is pressing. I mean, white has the initiative, and Nepo played very well, rook e1, and he wants to enter on e8, and well, I mean, this looks very dangerous for black. Liren played incredibly well from this point till the end of the game. Liren played galactic chess. Okay, it was a moment where he had just a couple of minutes, 2-3 minutes. Nepo still probably 6-7, and well, they played at a very high level both. Here h4 was possible, but black is maybe ready to start pushing his pawn and controlling with queen g4, and the position is probably equal. In the game, bishop e3 came, and it's quite interesting. He's offering the pawn on c3 because white will always have rook c1, and it's Liren played very natural, bringing the bishop to e5. So black activates the bishop, and white reacted with queen e8, which is a good move, creating more problems to the opponent. At this moment, Liren was thinking for a while, and he played a move which, in my opinion, is half world championship. He took on c3. I was expecting bishop f6, and well, probably it's kind of equal. Maybe white has still some pressure with rook e6, but his move is very brave, bishop c3, and after rook c1, he had to calculate in advance two very precise and very difficult moves. The first is rook f6. He needs to keep the pressure on f2 just to be able to react after bishop d2 with queen d4 and make a draw with queen f2. But it's interesting that at this moment, Liren had 2.5 minutes, Nepo around 6:30, and of course the Russian wanted to win. So he dismissed bishop d2, which only brings draw, and he played queen d7. Then black now is in trouble, because if he moves the queen, queen d3 check will pick up the bishop. And how to unpin? This is the move which brilliantly Liren calculated in advance. He played queen e2, fantastic. Now rook c3, queen e1 check, and black is fine. So now he unpinned, and after bishop c5, he could play bishop e1, and still okay, queen a7 is kind of equal. In the game, Nepo saw this equality, but he was still ambitious. He went queen d5, and trying to still create problems for black. But after the move bishop b4, Liren has everything defended. The only problem is that he has only in his clock 1 minute 33 seconds. Nepo still has 4:24, and now it was a very critical moment. Bishop c5 now it's not so good, because bishop e1, and white has to get passive with queen g2, probably still a draw, but not very nice. So Nepo went queen e4 check, king g8. He was thinking, Liren was playing very fast, queen d5, he was thinking almost 2 minutes. So finally he was left with 2.5 minutes, and he played queen e4 check, trying to repeat moves. And now it came the big surprise. Liren played rook g6. Very brave, amazing, playing for a win for the first time in this game, and really putting a lot of pressure on Nepo, because now Nepo is pawn down and his opponent wants to win. How to play? Both very short on time. Nepo is just 2 minutes, and Liren was here 123. But now it's true that maybe his position is easier to play. Now Nepo played Queen f5. Some people was criticizing this move, saying that h4 was better. h4 is natural, but probably Nepo was a bit worried about the strength of the a pawn. Look, after a4, Queen f5, Black can play Queen g4, and this endgame is pretty annoying for White. I mean, it's very precise move a3. And now take this, I'm not sure. I mean, I know that Black is close to win, maybe it's a draw, but it's going to be very difficult for White to defend. So that's why, okay, computer says that in this moment White can simply go away, Queen c2, and he has compensation even after a3. Well, this is of course for machine very easy, not so much for human. That's why Nepo played Queen f5, and now, okay, if a4, he's ready to take on c5. That's why Liren played c4, and I believe that Nepo missed the move Queen d3, h4, Queen d3, and this is terrible. Now suddenly Black is winning. Of course, h4 was a bad mistake, and the computer shows an amazing move to make a draw. Again, very, very difficult. I mean, the point is Queen f4, attacking the pawn, provoking c3, and then come back Queen f5. In that way, the queen will remain on this diagonal, b1, h7, and White will be able to survive. Okay, this is really impossible for human, especially because if I see this idea, I will try to do it with Queen e4. But then bishop c5 is very strong, because after take here, Black has the move rook g3 check, and we reach by force an endgame which is lost probably for White. As you see, lines are not so easy. They were very, very short on time, and after h4 now Black gets a winning position. In fact, in the next move he could win immediately. Liren, he missed bishop d2, he didn't find this move, which is immediately winning, and he played rook f6, which is of course better for Black, but again some complications coming because White gets active with his pieces, and suddenly he's trying to bring the rook to d8. At this moment, Liren was thinking, and he wanted to play safe, but with the move rook d6, he lost a big part of his advantage. He should play c2, and it's okay, if you have enough time, it's not so difficult to find the move queen c6, which gives White no hopes, because after king g6 there are no checks and Black is winning. Of course, not easy. With 1 minute, Liren played rook d6, trying to stop counterplay, and now again White has some checks, and the queen controls the advance of the pawns. At this moment, I believe c2 is not working, because probably h5 and g4, and Black played check and a4. This looks natural, but it's giving White a good opportunity to save the game. And Nepo found the move. He played bishop d4, the only counterplay, trying to attack c3 and also to create some play with queen f7, queen c7. Liren reacted with a3, and this was move 59, the last mistake from young Nepomniachtchi in this World Championship, and this will cost him the crown. He played rook queen c7, and probably he didn't see that after queen g6 he cannot take on c3, because take a2, and queen b1 is coming. So simple and promoting. So after queen g6, White is lost. There are no moves. He played queen c4, c2, but here we will see it's completely lost, 2 pawns down on the queen side. What was the way to make a draw here? In fact, there are two ways. One is machine thinking, and the other one is human. The machine drawer with bishop g7. Okay, this is crazy. I mean, nobody will play like this. I would think that the king is going to escape through some circuit, but the truth is that computer is showing 0.00, I mean complete equality, so it's perpetual check. but who knows? I mean, it's impossible to calculate. But the move which I believe Nepo could find, maybe with more time, it was not so difficult. It was h5. It was a very critical move, controlling g6, and now black has to be careful because a2 is a mistake because queen f7. And now there are not an easy way to protect the mate. So after h5, the queen is protecting the bishop, so moves like queen f5 is going to be only draw after queen b4. And what black can do to try to win the game is bishop f8. And after queen f7, queen d3 to play very precise, take, take, take. But probably it's a draw because the king is very weak and white has always a lot of checks, a lot of perpetual possibilities. So this was probably the best way for white to play h5. Nepo missed this defense. He played queen c7 and now he got a lost position. And after a few moves, okay, black found a very nice plan to bring the bishop to b2. Also he played well h5, and this is killing basically all white counter chances. Nepo already very short on time. He was less than 30 seconds. He played g4 trying to create some mess, but not to no avail. Here black played very well and very simple move a2. It's a clear killer. Nepo took his head and resigned after just 10 seconds. Well, it was a brilliant game for Liren, very brave. He deserved really to win. I think both players played fantastic. Can be only one champion. Now Liren is the 17th world champion after Magnus Carlsen from Steinitz and all the great names which follow. What can I say? It was a very exciting match. For me, it was a real joy to analyze all these games for you. I hope you enjoyed it as well. And I hope to see you soon again here on Internet Chess Club. Bye bye.